Actually, we could you can just claim and sit there and dangle your legs over the end. Oh. Yeah, video. Yeah. So he's that got the mic turned up? I hope not. Turn up on race commentary. No, we're not. There's no way to do that. Right. Who should it be? So, you're you write the times down?
Yeah, I'll write times.
You want to write the order down as well? So you write the order, you write the time. Yeah. You do that? Wallingford, it looks, yeah, it's going to be Wallingford first. Is this different? This is all different. Just thought I'd say. This is. Nope. This is not right.
So the first time trial of today, the Craber Cup, that's J15 Coxed quads for boys, coming up to the last 500 metres. The first club, Wallingford Rowing Club B, about a length and a bit in front of Bryanston. Both punching pretty hard. Bryanston can smell the stern of Wallingford. Wallingford just picking up a little bit to try and keep ahead of Bryanston. If this is a time trial, so we don't know what distance they started between each other down at the start. Wallingford pushing hard, Bryanston responding. In fact, the bowman just looking across. There's probably a call in the Bryanston boat because they've just increased their rate by about a pip and just moving up through Wallingford. It's half a length now. It was a length about 5 strokes ago. Yes, Bryanston much the better boat speed as they come up to the last 150 metres. Bryanston and Wallingford cross the line first, and we have to look down the track a bit for the next cruise. That's Reading Bluecoats over on the far side, followed by King's School Chester A. Some good sculling here. I mean, if you go back 20 years, there wasn't a lot of sculling, and it was the awesome initiative promoted by Steve Redgrave which got sculling into the clubs and the schools. And now, I mean, when you look at this event, we've got 62 quads just in this event. I mean, that would be unheard of 20 years ago. And if you can scull, you can row in anything. Yes, Reading Bluecoats taking a sprint last few hundred metres. Followed by, there's a Windsor Boys crew there, just pushing up. Yeah, one of the favourites, Windsor Boys. They were second at the sculling event a few weeks back. Closely followed by Reading Bluecoats. Which way around is that?
5.
That's clever. So fancy. If you wouldn't mind, I don't know that. Who's just crossed the line?
49.
So Reading Bluecoats School Boat Club B just crossing the line now, followed by Trenton Boat Club A. Good tidy sculling, pretty well together. Just crossed the line now. Kingston Grammar, followed by Dulwich College. Kingston, good solid sculling very well together. Dulwich over on the far side. These crews, they've raced 1900 metres, pretty consistent rates, probably 32, 33 as they come up to the line. Over on the far side, we've got City of Oxford being hunted down by St Joseph College. Stroke for stroke, St Joseph's just taking water off City of Oxford. And then we've got a big gap all the way back down, about 500 metres back. We've got 3 or 4 crews all overlapping each other. I'm sure they didn't start like that, so this will be interesting to see who manages to nip the gain on the other crews. So over on the far side, Mossbourne Rowing Academy really shoving very, very hard, keeping ahead of the 2 boats behind them, which are Clare's Court and Bidford College Boat Club. Clare's Court have had some good pedigree the last few years. Yeah, in fact they're winding it up now for the last couple of 100 metres. Wanted to keep ahead of Bideford College. Oh, the Lee are over on the far side. Lee looking pretty tidy. Rowing in a bit of a vacuum, really, or sculling in a bit of a vacuum. Just keeping ahead, a couple of lengths ahead of Walbrook, who themselves are a few lengths ahead of Grange School. That's Hartford. As I said earlier, pretty tidy sculling from these crews. Remember, they're only J15, so they may not have been sculling that long. Hartford coming up to the line now. The American School in London. We've seen them over the years producing various crews.
14, so 24, 14.
So Fulham Reach. I don't know that club. See, J15, Greg just said to me that it's a new club. Well, they can't have had much time to get to grips with the technique of sculling. That's not bad at all. And over on the far side again, Magdalen College School. Rating about 33. Stroke really trying to push his crew on. Rowing in a bit of a vacuum because there's some fairly big gaps between these crews. Magdalen College School in front of Royal Grammar School, High Wycombe. Lots of grunt from Royal Grammar School, High Wycombe. And over on the far side, Windsor Boys. Well, Windsor Boys had a history of good sculling. Sculling really well together. Wallingford Rowing Club A quad. You'll have seen the first quad crossing the line some time ago. This is the A quad. Royal Grammar School, High Wycombe B. So Royal Grammar School just coming up to the line now. I mean, I think with 62 crews to marshal down at the start, you're not going to get a perfect lineup off the start. So I think some of these are out of place. That won't disadvantage them in terms of the timing. Morgan College School Boat Club A. That earlier boat was their B boat. A little bit of a tussle here with these two boats. That's Maidenhead. Good crew. They won at the sculling event Regatta a couple of weeks back. Looking very well together, very strong thrust in the middle of the stroke. Good rate, 34, 35, 36, and followed by the American school over on the far side. Well, Manual School Boat Club. All the way! You have to go back a long time to see Emmanuel performing really well, but J15 quad looking very well together, pushing really hard, stroke pushing his men along. Yes, Kingston Grammar School on the far side. Pretty solid, but being closed down quite quickly by Falcon Rowing Club. Good strong stroke for stroke. Falcon have got the edge, just moving through a couple of feet every stroke. You can hear their supporters. Smiles on those on the bikes. Falcon moving through. As I said earlier, we don't know what the starting gap was, but it makes a good little race if you've got an overlap. That's very good sculling for 51. City of Bristol Road Club. Good flow between the strokes. Sir William Borlase is now, you've heard a lot about them over the last few years. And this emulates their expertise. Good sculling, well together, good thrust. Followed by King's School Chester. And King's School Ely. About a length and a half behind King's School Chester. They crossed the line, King's School Chester first and then King's School Ely just behind. But as I said a moment ago, we don't know the starting gaps. And King's School Worcester just coming up to the timing point. Sculling very well together, good thrust. Boats moving well between the strokes. And they're followed. There's a bit of a cluster of 3 or 4 boats now. King's School Worcester B. So their colleagues. And St Peter's School Boat Club B, a few lengths behind. And then you've got a little bit of a tussle over the far side. Ah yes, Wellington pulling up stroke for stroke against Sir William Borlase's A. Ah, that's interesting. So Warrington just moving quite swiftly through Sir William Borlase's, and Cheltenham College Boat Club. Good sculling. Just a reminder, it's the first 12 through to the next round. And now Windsor boys just coming up to the timing point. Windsor boys were third at the recent sculling regatta. They emulate that classic Windsor style, sculling very tidily, very well together. Durham Amateur over on the far side. Oh yes, Tiffin over on the far side. Durham Amateur Rowing Club crossing the line within half a length of each other. And then Molesey sculling in a bit of a vacuum. Good grunt per stroke, sculling pretty well together. Just coming up to the line. Yes, that's true. We were just saying the tidy crew here, it's Tyne Amateur 15, followed by St Joseph College Rowing Club in Ireland. So Tyne Amateur just crossing the line now. Good strong sculling. Reading Blue Coat over on the far side, just coming up to the line, and then followed by St Peter's School A, and the Rowing Club over on the far side. A lot of strength in depth at Henley, mostly amongst the women. But that looks a tidy quad. I don't know whether they were racing at the recent sculling event. They were second in the B final.
So guys, what I suggest you do is have one live power in the Williams.
12059.
So 27, the American School Boat Club in London, this is their B crew, being hunted down by Durham School Boat Club.
Very close to each other.
Yes. We've got Cox in the bow and Cox in the stern. Closely followed by Tiffin School Boat Club B. Canford School on this side. Nice steady rate. Followed by Queen's Park High School. Oh yeah, nice little dust up to the line, neck and neck, these two crews. Just coming up to the timing point, Molesey Boat Club B, followed by Northwich Rowing Club, having their own private little tussle together. Yeah, there's a few feet between them. Cox is both in the front. Nottingham and Union Boat Club, just coming up to the timing point. Good solid sculling.
62.
And Emmanuel School Boat Club A. Sculling in a bit of a vacuum, but still pushing on. Emmanuel School just coming up to the timing point. Their coach really encouraging them to push for that last stroke.
Onward! Looks like 3.5.
Yeah.
That must be all the
Gorse Boat Club. Gorse, the boat club, 315, just coming up to the line.
That's the end of that.
J15 4 plus. Oh, that's a quad. Well, we think that's covered all the Craver Cup's time trial. 63 boats or thereabouts crossed the line.
It's not the lowest number, but
So this is race 102. It's the Junior 15 Girls Coxed Quads, and it's a time trial over 1900 metres. And crossing the line now is number 67, that's the American School in London, that's their A quad, closely followed by crew number 74, which is Sir William Perkins School Rowing Club, and it's the B. Sir William Perkins producing a lot of good quads these days. And Guildford Rowing Club in that familiar yellow boat. It does help commentators when clubs have their own boat colours. Far side or nearer to the tents, it's Wallingford, who are being chased down by another St William's Perkins School. That's their B crew. Now approaching 50 metres to go, and sculling very well indeed with good boat speed. And that is Reading Rowing Club. Reading, who were at the Sculling Regatta, they were first in the B race, so we expect them to be there or thereabouts, vying for a place in that top 12, a semi-final place, and that looked like a very good row from Reading. Warbrook, a wonderful smallish club, some great coaches at Warbrook. You see them at all the local regattas. They give up so much of their time, and that is Warbrook. Warbrook in the Sculling Regatta, they were second in the B final, so they are hoping to push for a place in the top 12. Just by the finish marker, away from the tower. I wonder if I could ask people to move away from the finish marker. It's just obscuring the tower so that they can't give an accurate timer, and it's so important that we do give accurate times for these athletes. So if you're by the finish marker just in front of the tents, could you please move away so that the tower can see it clearly? Thank you. King's School Worcester just crossing the line. King's School Worcester, they're putting a lot of effort into their rowing programme at the moment, and we've seen some much better results for them in the last 2 or 3 years, and closely aligned with Stratford Boat Club. So we just saw crew 73 go in as well, which is Nottingham and Union Rowing Club, and they were second in the A final at the regatta. 73, there they are, Nottingham Union Rowing Club, moving very well as you might expect. As I said, they were second in the A final at the Sculling Regatta. 75, and a big welcome please for Enniskillen Royal Boat Club, who've made a long journey from Ireland. It's lovely to see them over here at Dorney. And they're closely followed there by Cheltenham College, again a very renowned sculling school, who are coming back in to a little bit of form as a club. Had a few years perhaps in the wilderness, but their programme has picked up in the later years. And I know Charlie, my fellow commentator, would want me to say that the standard of the sculling these days, when well, Charlie's much older than I am. He had to use wooden boats with fixed seats, I think, when he rowed in 1908 at the London Olympics. But he would want to say that the actual technique of these athletes is marvellous. And remember, these are J15, year 10. I'm just coming down now. Here's a great example of blades going in at the same time coming out. It looks easy, it is not easy. This is a lot of time spent on the river and a lot of time given to them by their coaches, and that's Fulham Reach Boat Club, and it's great to see them both at the Sculling Regatta and here. 85 just coming up, St Peter's School B. They've made a trip down from York, again a well-known school up in the north for sculling. '96, a big welcome to Queen Anne's Boat Club. This might be their first foray into the Leslie Langton Cup, so it's great to have Blair Fitzgerald, Amelie Coles, Lucy Burley and Pandora Dablitz, coxed by Rose Blomfield. Welcome to the National Schools Regatta, girls. So we are privileged to have a look at some of the times, and as we said, Reading Rowing Club sculled very well, and they're looking strong for a top 12 position, as are Guildford and Sir William Perkins at the moment, but there's a long way to go. And just crossing the boat, the finish line, is Great Marlow School, wonderfully coached there by Fergus, well-known figure, put so much time into the boat club. And that's Pangbourne, the familiar colours of Pangbourne, just approaching the finish line. Headmaster here, Mr. Garnier, will be pleased to see them. City of Oxford Rowing Club, sculling very, very well. Lovely long strokes from City of Oxford. And anyone associated with rowing or sculling will recognise the colours just approaching the last 50 metres, and it's of course the very famous Tideway Scullers. Tideway Scullers in the Sculling Regatta, they reached the A final and were 6th in that, so they will be hoping again to get close to a top 12 finish. At the moment, as we said, Reading, Guildford, William Perkins, Royal Grammar School, Worcester are posting some very quick times, but there are a number of crews still to come down, so even if they're in the top 12 at the moment, may just get bumped down. Such is the excitement of time trials. And we've got a little flotilla here of 4 boats. It does help if they're a bit closer, they can push off each other, and it's 83 closest to the tents. Clydesdale Amateur Rowing Club, welcome from us to you in Scotland. And just behind them was London Youth Rowing, and 65 just going through, again familiar colours of Guildford and Sydenham High School. Sydenham, like a few of the girls' schools in London, beginning to produce some very, very good boats. It's getting quite competitive there with all those girls' schools. From 106, Kingston Grammar School. So a big welcome to Holly Farrer, Alice Cassidy, Isla Howe Bales, and Effie Yinka Dombrowski, and Cox Isabella Walsh Whitfield, just crossing the line. Now there's a bit of a gap until the next quad, and then again we've got a few trying to catch up with each other and to make a race of it in the last 150. And of course it could be less than a second that separates 13th place from 12th place, so any extra they can put into the last 100 metres could be vital. 93, Godolphin and Latimer School coming up to cross the finish line. And 89, Bideford. Not a school we've seen much of, but it's lovely to have them here at Dorney, Bideford College Boat Club. And the crew 66 coming in, Twickenham Rowing Club of Sophia Tomlinson, Megan Ellie, Imogen Parker Elms, Hannah Lloyd, Cecilia Haggerty. (107) and it's Mossbourne Rowing Academy. Rosa Rook, Tess Burton, Maddie Abbott, Mia Smurden and Alice de Abaitua. And crew number 80 just coming to the finish line is Northwich Rowing Club. That's Tess Astorides, Iona Mitchell, Mila Speakman and Cox Lily Fisher. Sorry, Cox Grace Sparing Toy stroke Lily Fisher. And 95, Wimbledon High School Boat Club A. Another girls' school in London that producing some good sculling at the moment. And I know the head teachers of all of those schools are supporting rowing for both the boys and the girls, and it's lovely to see so many of them here at the National Schools Regatta. 108, another London school, Latimer Upper School. I know David Goodhue, the headmaster, will be here yelling both the girls and the boys' crews on. Latimer Upper, of course, at the J18 level have produced some wonderful crews. They've been competed certainly at Women's Henley, but also at Henley Royal as well. Crew 109 need to keep going. Don't stop rowing, girls. It's Maidenhead. Followed by the second Pangbourne crew. And 98 is Bedford Modern School. And that would have helped both the crews there being so close. And we've got a fast finishing crew close to the tents. This side. On this side it's 86 Moncton Combe. And finishing very, very strongly are Warrington. That seemed to be a good row from the Warrington girls. 101, Sir William Borley's crew of Anna Graham Usabiaga, Elizabeth Rickdick, Catherine Sayers, Poppy McLean Poppy McLean Ingalls and Cox Amy Greening. So very close at this finish here on the side away from is Wycliffe Rowing Club. Now Wycliffe, that is their A boat, they are one to look out for. They won both the Sculling Head and the Regatta. I know Greg Flower, their coach, is really hoping that Wycliffe are going to be pushing strongly for the Meadows. 91 just across the line is Gloucester Rowing Club. (116). It's lovely to see the girls of Clare's Court finishing very strongly and sculling very well indeed. Crew number 97, and it's the recently co-educational Royal Shrewsbury School Boat Club. So welcome to the girls at J15 of Shrewsbury. So some of the results just coming through, and again, as we said, some crews who were in the top 12 have just been bumped off, and others who have started later have pushed their way into it. But things look good at the moment for Maidenhead and Nottingham. As you might expect, Henley are up there as well, and Inniskillen clearly haven't made the journey from Ireland without a good crew. Charlie was saying earlier there's a slight cross tailwind. Really makes it perfect sculling conditions, not blowing anybody off course, because even though these are J15 quads and they've got a cox with them, still relatively inexperienced and very exciting when you race at the National Schools Regatta for the first time. 105, Team Keen. A recent formed club and doing very well indeed. One of four is second Godolphin and Latimer School. That was their A crew. So Tom Keane, who runs that Team Keane sculling school, was an excellent sculler himself in his day, and clearly very keen to pass on his expertise. 114, another Latimer upper school. Very well. Charlie just loves the sculling. We have this argument every year. I prefer the rowing, but he just goes mad for the sculling. He was just saying that Latimer looking very, very well controlled. Many of you won't know Charlie Wigan. Rowed in the Olympics, so he does know a little bit about rowing.
113.
Got one of those round things as well, didn't you, Charlie?
Yes, a consolation prize, Greg. Third place.
Bronze medal. I'm sitting next to an Olympic bronze medalist. How cool is that? 113 just going through is Tideway Scullers School A. 117 Maidenhead Rowing Club. 112 Surbiton High School. And followed by Ross Rowing Club. Ross were third in the A final at the Sculling Regatta, so they'll be hoping that they've done enough to get into the top 12. Huge resurgence down in the Wye Valley by Ross, who are producing some wonderful junior teams at the moment, and they haven't got a bad Masters programme either. Those of you who don't know, Masters is for old blokes and old girls. 124 famous Headington School Boat Club. Charlie's kept a very close eye on them. He's pushing for them, I think, to reach the top 12. So 115, that is Stratford upon Avon Boat Club. '81 in the light blue, that is King's School Ely, and again nice to see them coming back to a bit of form as a club. '118 is Bryanston School Boat Club, again a school that is beginning to push for finals. So we're looking on the website here and we can see that there are 38 boats in this category that have finished. And 119 just coming in is Bideford College Boat Club, followed there by 130 Marlow, and 120 is the Grange School, Hartford. So we've seen Grange both in the girls and the boys group. 121 Trentham Boat Club. And Trentham boys and girls are going very, very well at the moment. They've had some wonderful success at J15 and J16 level. So we've had 38 finishes. Remember these, if you're looking on the website, nothing is final until the chief umpire has ratified the times. So 122 King's School Worcester, that's their second boat club. Crew 123 is St. Peter's Boat Club, and St. Peter's seem to have brought a large number of athletes down from York. It's lovely to see. 125 Sir William Perkins, another famous name in girls sculling. 127, Sir William Perkins. So Sir William Perkins have 3 crews in this category. Strength and depth. So we talked about Wycliffe, their time at the moment yet to be ratified. Looks as though they will have made the top 12. Some famous names at the moment. So competitive, this event. There'll be people who don't make the semis who 4 years ago would have made the final. It's that competitive. 126, St Paul's Girls. Again, one of a number of London girls' schools competing at the National Schools Regatta. Charlie will be purring at this crew that's coming down. 128, and that's Trafford Rowing Club. Good solid sculling is my colleague's comment. They're being chased home by 129. And there's Barn Elms Rowing Club, again one of the newer clubs in London. And I know we'll say it a number of times, but they absolutely deserve all the volunteers who give up their time coaching and helping out these rowing clubs. These athletes wouldn't be on the water without them, and sometimes we all forget to thank them. So if you are a coach, if you are one of those helpers who make sandwiches, teas, or even if you're a taxi driver, those of us who are involved in the rowing world, we'd like to say thank you. It's because of you that we've got these athletes on the water. So that might be the end of the J15 Coxed quads, and we've got some exciting octopals coming down who will look like demented caterpillars as they go past us, and Charlie Wigan will be able to make sense out of the 9 athletes and whatever they're doing.
I think it's, with so many pairs of sculls, it's very difficult for them to. They've got to keep in time, otherwise it would be a disaster if one of them doesn't link with the water at the same time as all the others. I mean, it would be a complete boat stopper. So full marks to these girls to keep these boats moving like this. Very impressive.
See, in Charlie's time, they didn't build boats like this. Didn't have 8 people in it with two blades. But he does love the sculling. He's pushing me off the seat now because he really wants to commentate on these. And he's right, because if you have ever been in a boat, if you've ever been lucky enough to have been on the water in a boat, you may have started in one of these. And when they first go out, you've got 8 athletes with 2 blades, neither of which are going in the water at the same time. Then you add another 7 people, and none of them are going in the water at the same time. And then you get to the National Schools Regatta, and they're coming down, and they seem to have been rowing for years and years and years, and they make it look wonderful. And there is just something aesthetically pleasing in an octuple that is sculling well.
Yeah, this first octuple, in fact there's 7 on it. I mean, for whatever reason, the 3 girls dropped out. But full marks, the rest of them are sculling away, not that different in terms of boat speed to the other crews around them. So it's 132 who are Latimer upper. Latimer, we've spoken about them earlier. Still shoving away there. 7 of them, not 8, being closely hunted down by Surbiton on this side, and Sir William Perkins over on the far side. There's only half a length between these three, so good race between them, and full marks to Latimer Upper for covering the course with only 7 scullers.
No, that's not. 14 girls. This is the second.
Yes, Greg's just pointed out to me these are second crew octopus skulls. So again, full marks to Grasping the Nettle on this one. They're only J14s.
1 through 6 coming down.
Just coming up, Surbiton High School C crew. So you can see there's 24 girls in this event from Surbiton alone.
So there'll be
Yeah,
2
Surbiton.
crews in this and 1 in the A. This will be the B and C octopus.
Surbiton just coming up to the timing point.
We've got a race.
Sculling pretty well together. And then we've got a cluster of 3 octopals over on the far side. Good little race.
137 on the far side.
That's Sir William Perkins
And 138.
A Club,
138%.
followed by another Surbiton Boat Club crew, which is Surbiton A. Surbiton got the edge a little bit on them. Just a quicker boat speed as they come up to the timing point. Yeah, Surbiton just taken half a length there off their competitors over on the far side. Yes, Godolphin and Latimer coming up to the timing point now. Yeah, we've got 15 octopals in this event, so we're halfway through. Lovely conditions. I mean, it's as flat as it can be here. Slight tail, as we said earlier, which just, the tailwind can just blow you off your feet if you're not careful, and that will affect balance.
I'll come and find it.
That's the only problem with open water stretches. The wind can be very helpful, but can be a complete disaster and can be very unfair.
Putney coming down there.
So Putney High, that's boat 139.
What's the head called? Susie
Pretty well together.
Longstaff XGB. Comes as the head.
Susie Longstaff,
Yeah.
the
Used to be-
coach.
Used to be no, she's the head there.
Oh, she's the head there, aren't you? Yes, sculling pretty well together. The stroke girl just really pushing her crew along there.
140 on the other side.
Latimer School B crew over on the far side. Good strong finishes from that crew.
So just to remind people that it's the 6th fastest will go to the A final, and then the next 7 to 12 will go to the B final, and the others will race in the C final.
So 135 just coming up to the time. That's Yarm. I don't know whether the stroke girl had a problem because she stopped sculling about 10 strokes ago. And the last boat in this event at the moment
141.
looks like Headington and Oxford boat. Headington School Oxford Boat Club. Sorry, I thought it was another crew. So Headington, a lot of pedigree in Headington School. had some fantastic successes over the last few years, coming up to the time point now. So that completes that event. 15 boats. The results will be up on the site shortly, and as Greg just said, it's the top 6 will go through to the next level. So I said a moment ago that was the conclusion of that heat, but it's not. There are 4 more octables still to come. There must have been a problem at the start because there is a big gap. And these last few crews, I think it's Putney High, Bedford Girls' School first. It looks like Putney High over on the far side. Wimbledon. And I think Lady Ellen High.
143 far side.
Yeah, Putney High School over on the far side.
Just crossing was 142.
Yeah, that's Bedford School just across the timing line.
144.
Then we've got Wimbledon just coming up to the timing line. And it must be Lady Eleanor Hollis way back. Again, strong pedigree, Lady Eleanor Hollis.
Yeah.
Had some really good wins over the years. And again, this is J14, so they won't have been sculling for that long. Second cruise.
Second and third cruise.
Yes, Greg just said second and third cruise. We had 3 Surbiton High School crews in that event. That's Lady Eleanor Hollis just crossing the timing line now. So we've got a bit of a gap now to the next event, which should be J15 Girls Coxed Falls. There are 21 crews listed in that event. We've got a little bit of time until they come up. So I don't know what you think, Greg, but this event, National Schools, goes from strength to strength. I mean, there are more competitors this year. It's more exciting. It's technically more demanding, and full marks to Jonathan Hill and George Hammond, who basically coordinate it with their team. And it's a good place to cut your teeth against anybody who's sculling or rowing at school. Good course. That wind is just just freshening a little bit. Still a tail, cross tail, which will help, but as I said earlier, it can blow you off your feet and will inhibit balance. Right, I'm going to ask Greg to commentate, because this is a rowing event.
I think, as Charlie says, the standard of sculling, and you're about to see the standard of sculling. These girls will only have been rowing this year, so they're not allowed to row at J14 level, so this will be the first time this year that they've been able to row. Those of you who have sculled and rowed will know that, as Charlie will say, you can always row if you've sculled. And the first boat down, and looking very neat actually. There's one There's 146, which is Kingston.
Yeah, go! Right road!
Yeah, and just coming up is crew 148, which is Lady Eleanor Hollis. That's their A crew. But as Greg said a moment ago, this is the first year that they're allowed to row at J15 level.
And now they're beginning to come down thick and fast. Of course, rowing will suit some athletes better than sculling, so it's up to the coaches to try and work out whether they put them in a rowing boat or keep them in a sculling boat. 149 is Monmouth School for Girls, 153 is Yarm. It's always great to see Yarm School here. They make such an effort to come all the way down here. 150 Streatham and Clapham High School, another new London girls' school. I'm sure their headmaster, who's a concert pianist, will be equally proud of his girls here. 154 is Beckett Rowing Club. And in the very obvious colours is Lee Rowing Club, 157. So well done to Darcy Wynne-Jones, Matilda Briscoe, Abigail Dawson, Phoebe Page and their cocks, Liling Bertold. This will be the first time perhaps that some of these athletes have been in a national race. You can imagine how nervous they were when they were just starting off. 160 is St Edward's School. (147) North Staffordshire Rowing Club. Both crews doing so well in the last 50 metres. Remember, it's 1900 metres. So only 100 metres short of the full course. And by the time they get down to us at the finish line, these athletes will be pretty tired. And that's where, of course, a good cox comes into his or her own, encouraging, cajoling, pleading with the athletes in the boat, just trying to keep the blade work neat and together. The last 50 metres, as we say, can make all the difference. So in this one, it's the 12 fastest will go into the semi-final, and the rest will go into the C-final. There's a lot of chat about whether we should have C-finals and sometimes D-finals, but I think it's great. It means that we're here a lot longer, and it means a bit of more of a jigsaw and headache for the organisers, but it's great for some of these athletes who just miss out on those semi-finals to have another opportunity to race each other in this multi-lane environment. 155 is the second St Edward's Boat Club. Still rowing, nice and long. 151 St Paul's Girls' School Boat Club, who are just being caught. By 156 Warrington. Again, Warrington doing so well in junior rowing and sculling recently. Lucy Glover, some of you will know, is now a GB athlete. She started her path at Warrington, and really I think she's a catalyst for some of, and certainly a role model for some of the athletes now in the Northwest.
Well, when you look at the pickup that those Warrington girls have, that strength unattached.
So Charlie is just trying to teach me a bit about rowing, so I prefer it if he taught everybody. Just say the same, Charlie.
I just noticed those Warrington girls picking up the catch very strongly together, and it's just noticeable how that gives a real thrust to the boat. But this is rowing, I don't do rowing.
If you are listening to Charlie, you should be very pleased indeed. He hardly ever comments on rowing. In fact, the few hundred who are here, that's probably the first time he's ever mentioned anything positive about rowing. So we've been joined up here by another GB athlete who just happens to be young enough to have been taught by me, because I'm still obviously very young. 158 is King's School Chester. So there's a bit of a lull. Catherine Douglas will be joining the commentating team soon, having rowed for GB in an 8. Quite frightening, to be honest, to be surrounded by